Hello, everyone. Excited to be here. I know we're going to be having our other moderator, Luke Pillarella, join us here in a moment. And while we're getting Luke up here, and before we jump into things, I wanted to give a huge shout out to our partners who help make this series possible. Huge shout out to Safe Haven, to Startup Guides, Dominant Creative, VChain, Mad V Apes, Shoes 53045, and MetaJuice. And team, without further ado, let's jump into things here. Welcome back to episode 4 of Bridging the Gap to Web3. My name is Connor Boundy. I'm here with one of our co-founders and my co-host at Atlantis Capital, Luke Pillarella. Luke, how you doing today? Hope you're excited to be back here, man.
Doing well. I know it's been a little while since we've gotten last together, but today is going to be a really exciting, insightful conversation.
Yeah, it was an awesome last episode. I know it's been a bit, but we've been really focused on trying to grab the best speakers for you all. So I hope you're excited because last episode was great. We had our first anonymous founder joining us. And for this episode, we have some more firsts as well.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Last episode, really, we were honing in for those that were able to attend. We were really honing in on the value and benefits behind building a community and how the communities that are being developed in Web3, cryptocurrency, NFTs aren't really much different from the communities that we know today. And if you weren't able to view that live event, go out on YouTube, Bridging the Gap to Web3, the power of community, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Give us a like, share, and happy to learn more about what you guys want us to talk about. But Connor, I'm really excited that we actually get to carry on that conversation today. Granted, we're not focused on community, but there is an aspect of community with how brands really are building awareness and how they're interacting with their consumers and customers.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, in order to build a community, you've got to get people there. And in order to get people there, you've got to get your solution, your product, your brand in front of a ton of eyes. And thanks to new Web3 technology, NFTs, the metaverse, cryptocurrency, there's a lot of new avenues, new opportunities for innovation for brands to get new exposure. And that's a lot about what we're going to go over today with two amazing guest speakers. So without further ado, I mean, Luke, I think it's time to bring up our guest speakers.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, being Claudia Olah. Claudia is the director of marketing on the MetaJuice team, where she really focuses on managing the global marketing teams and initiatives, specifically around one of their new offerings called vCore and vCoin. We'll get into those a little bit later. But what MetaJuice really is MetaJuice is a subsidiary of Together Labs, and Together Labs is just a broader organization focused on a similar mission. But MetaJuice is really building blockchain-driven assets that unlock the value of the metaverse. And through their recent releases of meta tokens like vCore and vCoin, MetaJuice is really working to create a virtual world where everyone can participate and really share in its success. So I'm really excited to kind of talk to you today, Claudia, and get to know more about yourself and the business that you're behind. So Claudia, welcome to the series. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hi guys, sorry, I didn't realize I didn't have all that on.
No worries at all.
Thanks for having me. Excited to talk about this episode.
Oh, of course. We're excited to have you. And joining Claudia today is another amazing guest, Aurélia Ammour. Aurélia has an extensive international experience where she's been an entrepreneur, she's been a strategist, she's been a venture capitalist. The list really goes on. And before her latest venture, Aurélia was a managing partner at iVentures Consulting, both in Paris as well as in LA. And she really focused on digital transformation and growth strategies in fashion, beauty, and gaming. As you could see the array of shoes behind Aurélia here. This taps into her latest venture, where Aurélia is the CEO of Shoes 53045, which is a next-gen multiverse sneaker brand designed by footwear legend David Tuner. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that name correct. But Aurélia, welcome to the series. It's always a pleasure when we get connected.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here with you guys, and I'm ready to share a lot of things we have been doing.
We're going to have a lot to talk about today. And I guess
Yeah.
before we get started, Claudia, is there anything that you're specifically excited to dive into for today's episode?
Honestly, mainly the brand and consumer perspective and getting into the metaverse, and the entire story that experience we've had with the Shoes 53045 team on building and launching an NFT digital wearable into the metaverse. Really excited to talk about that, and also like the future where we're going, with an NFT marketplace that we're integrating into the platform right now, a new token we're launching. There's a lot going on, so excited.
There is a lot going on, and we are going to dive into all of it. And as you all heard me mention, this is a first for Bridging the Gap to Web3. This is the first time we're going to have two individuals, one from the Web 2 world and from the Web 3 world, that have actually done past collaborations together. So we are going to quite literally hear from both sides of the bridge when we're talking about some of the same stories here. So Aurélia, what are you excited to talk about on the episode today?
I'm very excited to talk like globally about our vision as an emerging fashion brand, and about like bridging to Web3, in fact, because we when we launched like 3 years ago, we were like a digital native brand but selling physical shoes. So it's an amazing opportunity we have been working on since a few months. And the second things, of course, is like to be able to share our amazing experience with MetaJuice. It's very cool. And this experience, like immersive experience, and we did together is currently nominated for the European Metaverse Award. So we are very proud to share about it.
You're getting ahead of me. We'll be talking about that here in a second. Yes, it was unbelievable to see you all nominated for the European Metaverse Awards, and excited to talk about why. But I want to dive into what you kind of mentioned there earlier. You've gone through this evolution here. I mean, Shoes 53045 was really a traditional Web 2 startup retail company. And you've started to get exposed to new technology and new resources to help you grow your business. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's been like and what your kind of new exposure to this technology has brought to your business?
But yeah, technology. I come from this. I have been always working in digital. In fact, even if like the brand I've been working with or startup were more like into like Web 2, but yeah, technology has been always like super like important to us. So when we launched 3 years ago, it was more about like direct to consumer brand, with Web 2 like technology, like in e-commerce, like of course, like Shopify and platform like marketing platform like Cameo and Gorgias for customer service. This kind of platform, and using like social media, like doing advertising on social media, all these things, and yeah, I feel like this technology are still good, but some have to like are currently like also transitioning to Web3. So we see more things, but it's not totally here. Like it's not, of course, perfect right now. Everyone is experimenting. So yes, it's very important for us to be very focused on this technology, especially for like instead of e-commerce, it's going to be v-commerce. So like all these platform working with creators and small brand have to be like more like virtual. They are also to be like to be on the blockchain and everything, and to empower creators, because as of today, for example, if I take the example of Shopify, that is an amazing platform, but their NFT offer is only available on Shopify Plus, so it means for the biggest subscription, and it's like $2,000 a month. It's not what I call like empowering creators, So I think they miss their launch. I think the platform is cool, but if they want to empower, if they want to be to have more companies like experimenting on their platform, they need to open to more more companies.
Yeah.
And not to ask like $2,000 a month. So it's an example, and I hope like platform like Klaviyo or that is more kind of like emailing and CRM platforms. They will integrate they will do some integration with Discord, for example. This kind of thing I think is going to come progressively. But there are also like some amazing platform like coming that I see in Web3 that doesn't really exist in Web2, or there were a few things, but it was very old school. For example, a loyalty program, it's
Yeah.
like loyalty program like Web2, it exists, and there were like some platform like Smile, like that works with Shopify, etc. But for example, there is an amazing loyalty platform that I discovered in Web3. The name is Glow Labs. This platform is totally amazing, and I think companies like Shopify and even like over like a pure Web3 marketplace should work with them, because like it's all about like it's very specific, like about building the community and to reward and have the community and and engage the community. So I think it's a nice it's a perfect tool to do this. So I think we are go ahead.
And I was going to say, I think it is a perfect tool. Well, you mentioned something there, the $2,000 price tag for a startup company. For a lot of organizations today where the budget is just locked down, it's tough to get access to these amazing tools and solutions that exist in the Web2 world. Things like Shopify, buying those premium services. But you mentioned you found some cool little solutions here in the world of Web3. Can you tell us about what was missing in those Shopifys? What was missing in, some of that marketing material and resource that you were looking for that you found in some of the solutions and some of the companies here that exist in the Web3 ecosystem?
But there are like a few companies like working on the kind of like Web3 like Shopify, but I haven't seen like something as sophisticated that Shopify has a Web2. But it's like I think all our products are the future of fashion, especially is going to be digital. So I think like Shopify has to do something, and people that do like platform, Web3 platform for NFTs, they have to think also digital and not only digital. So there are like some progress. There is some room.
I think that's a new word for some people on this call here. Digital. Yes, that is a real word, everyone. This is a new kind of solution here that I'm assuming we're going to talk about a lot more in this episode. That's, again, bridging this physical and digital world of products. And Shoes 53045 has done a lot with that. But at the same time, so is MetaJuice. And MetaJuice has seen it at an immense scale. I mean, Luke, you want to kind of help Claudia share what she's been doing here?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one quick point about the digital world. I think that just this past week, there was some exciting news coming out of New York Fashion Week with Puma kind of coming in after 3 years of not being there. And how did they show up? They showed up with redeemable NFTs, right? It's pretty much what Aurélia is describing here, of that they launched a version of their sneakers that haven't been released yet via NFTs, and then they made that to where it was redeemable. And it was really funny because prior to having our original conversations with Aurélia and Claudia, I've never heard of a brand kind of exploring that realm before, and now it seems like it's popping up everywhere. But turning that over to kind of Claudia and what you're doing with MetaJuice. One, I want to touch on the fact that what you have over 200,000 creators, if I'm not mistaken, on your platform, who are connecting with these brands, who are interested in exploring the metaverse and NFTs and all this other really cool initiatives. So I'm curious, what themes have you really been seeing? Why are brands coming to MetaJuice, and what are they really looking for?
Right. I mean, yeah, we've got 200,000 active creators. It's wild. It's really fun to be a part of too, because it allows brands to easily kind of get into the space. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of along the same lines as Aurélia, right? So everyone had this virtual presence for their brand so that people can buy physical products. And then they started doing this whole kind of digital concept, right? Which is buying a physical version and a digital version. So instead of just purchasing that item on Shopify and just getting the physical version, you also own this one-of-a-kind digital version. So it was like a combination of both. That's really the simplicity of it, but you couldn't really have true ownership without these Web3 assets, right? Yeah. And then when I talk to even more brands, because we talk to a lot of like smaller brands, but also larger brands, and like Aurélia is like way ahead of her time. Like they have a chief metaverse officer when they came in, but still like, going into that, building a digital, like complex for me, complex for her asset, is more in the creator's hands. Like they've been doing this for a very long time. They can make some really high quality objects like we've seen on Imview today. And Imview's been around since 2004. We have 1 million daily active users, 200,000 creators. So it's kind of easier to tap into the community, tap into the creators, and figure out what brands want. But brands are still a little hesitant because they're just like, it's very new. They're like, where do I start? That's the first question. It's like, okay, well, just come to us. We will help you. We'll match you with our creators. We'll help you figure out what you want to do in the metaverse, And then they're like, okay, well, then what should I be promoting? Like, do I do like Aurélia? They did a real version of the one that they have, but we also added like superpowers, So like something I tell them is like, do a product that you have and aligns with your brand, but also like it's the metaverse. You can do something wild and cool and like let your imagination go crazy, and people will love it. I mean, you want to make angel wings and your Victoria's Secret, like sure, why not do angel wings? You kind of have to get,
You're really able to kind of stretch those physical bounds, right, that exists in the physical world, and kind of give that interactiveness with those consumers and have them really, relate to that brand. So Claudia, when brands are coming to you, and they're working with your creators, are they working to create, and like I know Aurélia, creates kind of some cool shoe designs in the metaverse that help to like showcase the brands. Is that mainly what, brands are coming to you for? Do they want their products created in the metaverse to then show off to their customers? And could you give our audience a little bit of a glimpse underneath the hood of like, what's that relationship like between those creators and the brands? Like what are those conversations like?
Right. Well, I'm sure everyone's heard of like an NFT by now, basically a non-fungible tokens. Really, it's just an acronym, NFT. And it's basically a piece of art that's attached to a contract, right? You get this piece of art, you get this contract, you get the true ownership of that asset. And because of that, people were buying NFTs for crazy amount of prices, but still you only really had it in your wallet. You couldn't really do much more otherwise with that NFT. So aside from that, like going into the metaverse with NFTs allows a little bit more utility for those assets. They can actually take them on platform, wear them on their avatar. Eventually, hopefully, which is what we're trying to do, and we've been recognized for our open metaverse work, is taking onto other platforms, other wallets, etc. So it's an exciting time, and like there's a lot that brands can actually do. Connecting with the community within the metaverse. And if you work with the metaverse, it's been around for a while, has a deep sense of community like we have.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to do that. I mean, our entire metaverse is our community. Like they built this metaverse. It's really one of a kind. It's pretty cool.
Well, it's just wild. Luke, what were you going to add there?
I was just going to add one point of like, I remember when you were demonstrating kind of the different rooms that you could go in and kind of interact and have different themes and right, like really you had shoes that were kind of on fire in one room and kind of on ice in a different room. So there's all of this customization that could really go into it to where, again, like the brand is just able to interact so much more in depthly in this virtual world than just the physical selling of products and being delivered to the end user. But Connor, to what you were going to say.
Yeah,
and I think that's experience. Go ahead, Claudia.
Sorry, they get the whole experience, like with shoes, and Aurélia will tell you all about it. We made like 4 different rooms that were just themed for this NFT. Like one was the brand theme, and we did it all in a crazy amount of time. I think it was like a week and a half. It was wild. It was wild. But we're able to do it because we can tap into this 200,000 active creators, that are like actively making products already. So
yes, it was amazing because we were not expecting. We of course we had expectation, but it was even better than our expectation. So it's like you just have almost like in a week, like you are doing more than we were expecting. So we were expecting something nice, but it was even like amazing. It was really like really cool. So. Yeah,
well, it just takes customization to a whole new level. I mean, just think about it with Nike's in particular. Nike's revenue in the metaverse and in the world of Web3 is tremendous compared to other brands in the space, especially their top competitors, people like Adidas. And it's because you have so many people that love the Nike brand, whether it's some kind of shirt, some kind of hoodie, or a shoe. And if they get the opportunity to take the shoe that they wear on their feet in everyday life and add that to some virtual character that they use in their virtual life, that they go walk around in a metaverse, it feels more like them. It is something that makes them unique. And I think that we were just talking about that. Yeah, it's kind of like your own personal identity. And that's that digital bridge right there, where you've got the shoe on your feet in person, but you've also got it in the virtual world and it's yours. And so I'm curious, Aurélia, you've actually gone through this transition of having the shoe in the real world and getting it into the virtual world. Can you tell us about some of the challenges that you faced to do that? What was that like? And, just walk us through that experience overall.
Yeah, we are kind of like still hybrid because technically we still have some physical inventory and it's kind of asset. So we are still selling like physical shoes, but yeah, we have been transitioning for a few months. Our objective is to be like 100% web free after this. But yeah, there are like a few challenges. The challenge of sustainability that is like always in fashion anyway. And I know someone asked a question about sustainability in the chat, but it's like, yeah, it's always a big challenge for fashion brand. And we have been very transparent and communicating a lot about our sustainability effort in terms of product sourcing, but also like we have our fulfillment center like in Hong Kong, close to our factory in China. And we also like even talk about like, when you make products, there is always like some waste, or there is always like also some products that are like defective. So we always do donation to charities, these kind of things, because it's not only about this. And the challenge with what I like with NFT, it like brings also like another way to think about sustainability, because we can, of course, if people buy like digital fashion, reduce also the consumption of physical things, but with physical, once again, I'm going to talk about digital because I think it's also what we are going to see in terms of digital adoption. More and more people will be attracted because they can have the shoes. They can have the shoes in real and in their virtual life. So yeah, it's super important to talk about digital and the thing with Web3, when we drop, we can do pre-orders, so you can get now the digital version, and we have pre-orders, so it's also allow us to control more our production based on pre-orders.
Mhm.
So it's very good for this, because usually, like in the like normal fashion ecosystem, that is kind of like doesn't really work so well anymore. It's like we needed to do a production to define the size breakdown based on data, of course, of previous buying and success and failures, because sometimes there are styles that work and others that don't work, and you never know if it's going to work or not. And sometimes it's like it makes me like not feel good, to sign like a purchase order and saying like, yeah, I hope it's going to work, because it's like what we are going to do with these shoes. We know like problem of sustainability. Like I think it's 40% of products that are marked down, like at like in off-price stores or like even in like concept stores every year. And like we know that the recycling is kind of oversold thing, and we know like even resell now there are like articles saying like resell is like the new fast fashion. So it's kind of scary. So if Web3 and NFT, and the fact when you buy a shoe, because I think in the future, I don't think we are going to talk about NFT in final. It's like you are going to buy a shoe, and the shoe you are going to, you will have the digital version, and you will have the physical version that you order a few months later, and you can unlock things because we are working on this project of NFC chips that you can put inside the shoe on the tongue to be like precise, but like here it's going to have like kind of indicator that you can scan the shoes and unlock a lot of things. So you can unlock the digital one. It can be your new marketing platform.
I love that.
You can have access to like a private event. You can have like access to whitelist. You can have like over like like some gift we can send and this kind of thing. So the shoes itself is going to be like a real tool. And after that, the technology or the NFT, people, I think they don't need to know at one point. It will be more reassuring. It's more like NFT is more like a authenticity certificate. So, so the pre-order thing and is really like super important. Sustainability. Other challenge, I would say right now, it's like the economic context. It's like crazy, and especially like as a brand, it's like we got like 2 years of COVID, and it was like we needed to. Thanks to China, we made it. We maintained the first year, and we did 30% the second year, so it was good. And whereas like most of brand did minus 20%, minus 30%. So it was already like to manage a company, like to be blind, or sometimes I say Squid Games. It's kind of Squid Games. And I compare this to Squid Games. And so thanks to China, we got lucky because our shoes are loved by Asian people, also in the US, but a lot of Chinese. So it was good, but now it's inflation, bear market, and the thing is like China that was great during COVID is now all like zero COVID policy, and this year it's totally bad with China. So it means it's like you are always like this. So I will say it's probably the worst challenge, the most difficult challenge, because we are not magicians, we don't have, even if you read like good economist analysis, no one knows. We think maybe, and so it's like I'm like Squid Games. I'm like it's Squid Games like season 2. So
you're bringing season 2 before we've seen the trailers. I love it. But Aurélia, I mean, I'm hearing all about your agility. Your ability to pivot as an organization when change comes, and having the Web3 tools within your business are really allowing you to do that, are allowing you to combat the issues that you're seeing with sustainability, are allowing you to combat those issues we're seeing with pre-orders, and making sure you're getting the right orders to the right people. Truly that you are going to be able to get those orders out on time. Having that confidence in your delivery, it's just got to be huge. And so I thank you for sharing that. And hopefully some individuals can take some things away from it, because I'm assuming that you aren't the only one doing that. And I'm assuming, Claudia, you've probably seen a couple other people go through this as well.
Yeah, I mean, it adds a lot of value to brands as well, and also to customers when they work in the metaverse, because they're able to like have a real virtual, true connection with that brand. I mean, in social media, when we're using it these days, I mean, it's cool, but it also doesn't really let you interact with it in a way that you can in the metaverse. So honestly, I really think the metaverse is just the next step. We're already kind of doing that on social media nowadays. Like when you look at avatars, like think about when we first used social media, it was all about connecting with people in a virtual way that you met physically. And now most of the people that probably follow you, you don't even know, you met them virtually, and then you meet them in the real world and you're like, oh my God, you're BAYC, whatever, you know what I mean? And and most of the time now, all the people have avatars. I mean, mine right now is an NFT project I really like. So, I mean, it's an avatar.
Likewise.
Likewise,
avatar. If it's a way to represent yourself online in a different way, and it also, again, going back with the value of NFTs, you really get to see like you're an owner, right? Like you're an owner in this ecosystem. You're an owner in the metaverse of like, that's such right. Like that's such a cool avatar. Like, it's mine, right? It's one of one. Like not many other people are going to have this, if any. And that it's really, really fascinating.
You don't know how cool it is until you buy one.
Right.
Everyone tells you
that really is true.
Get in, buy in a project you like, buy it, and you really don't understand until you really get into the space. And then you buy one, you're like, oh, it's kind of cool. And then you get really into the next one, and then it just evolves, and the metaverse is the next step. It's a whole interactive avatar experience,
Right. And really, kind of focusing in on this metaverse theme. I want to call out something that was mentioned earlier. One, congratulations to your collaboration with MetaJuice and Shoes 53045 and getting awarded and nominated, actually being nominated for the European Metaverse Award. Granted, I didn't even know that was award number one. That's really cool, and an awesome nomination. So kudos to you both. I know the hard work that's going into it. So I'm curious about, can you tell me more about the nomination you received and kind of what was the work that was being put into the metaverse for you to be nominated for this award?
Honestly, I think we were just nominated. Obviously, I think, we had to have a really cool project. And what we did with Shoes 53045 was, it was the first one that I did in the metaverse, because I joined the company like maybe a couple months before we did this whole launch. And it was just like our team, their team, and like I was leading it, and Aurélia and her team were leading it. And so we were working a lot together, and we were able to make this like super power, really high quality looking shoe, and it was redeemable on platform. And then we did a whole activation as well. Like we actually gave out one free version to everyone on our platform. It's like all of a sudden they just had a shoe in their inventory, and we did a whole activation with the community to where like they could actually use that and bring it off platform. So it was like a combination of Web 2, Web 3, and they styled their avatar with the shoe, and whoever won the contest got like X prize. I forgot what the prize was at the moment, but the cool part was we actually had like 35,000 people participate off platform. Yeah, so it was definitely more within the metaverse, but like that type of activation is just really like shows you our community, like they're just like, okay, cool, I want to do this. Like they're just actively on. They've been loyal community members for a very long time, majority of them. So it's just like, it's really cool to see. So it kind of makes sense that we were set up for this award. It's the first time they've actually done this award, the European Metaverse Award, and very humbling that we actually get it. So that's pretty cool. We actually found out a couple of days ago that we're shortlisted for the Top Fashion or Consumer Brand Initiative. So not only nominated, but shortlisted, which is really cool.
That is awesome. That is awesome to hear. I mean, congratulations again. And I can't believe that 35,000 individuals off platform too. So that doesn't even, that just means like you're getting into more of those themes, interoperability, right? Like people are being drawn to what is being created here, and for them to participate and kind of see, I could only imagine the creations that were done by some of those users and what they put together and other things of that nature. But I'm curious, really, what are some of your thoughts on this award? Like I'm curious just to hear your perspective, being the brand of kind of interacting with the metaverse.
No, I think it was like, I'm very happy and excited that we got like nominated. So hopefully we will win. It would be amazing. But I think, the message also, because we did this project, the first project, the one about our drip, cyber drip, and we did it in February, and we were like the first to do like the first direct to avatar NFT sneaker, because most of sneakers that like drip, like some NFT didn't have this kind of utilities. So it was great, and the redemption process was so simple. So yes, this is what Claudia said. It's like people just like did the process, and they got the shoes in their inventory. So it was really unique, and also like EMVU is amazing because it's like the immersive experience and interactivity, and in terms of community building is like the best, because it's a metaverse where there are people, because there are a lot of metaverse that don't have anyone. So,
Right.
so it's already, it's true that there are some that they do some events and they make like they have some people, but outside, if you go randomly, there is nothing. But if you go to MVU all the time, you will always meet people. So it was amazing to interact and to do this experience, and we wanted also to do like what we call a meta film. The meta film was to have to invite all NFT owners and all influencers to to experience the shoes inside the MVU, and we did like a lot of like amazing like photo shoot footage, and we at the end we did this amazing movies that was featuring like NFT owners and influencers, and it was super fun, and we broadcast it on Spatials. That is another like great like metaverse to like a premiere, you know, for everyone to discover the meta film. So yeah, it was cool. It was a very cool experience, and
we
the
made
aesthetic.
the avatars, remember, for the influencers. So we actually made like unique avatars for the influencers.
Yeah, also, yeah, we did. We had like Rico Nasty, so she's a rapper, Hyperpop Queen. We had two like super good like fashion influencers that are always in the fashion week.
Awesome.
Yuma Sui with like Japanese, and Declan Chan that is from Hong Kong. And we got like one TikTok star, TG Black, and one stylist. So it was good. It was cool to have like all these different population, because they love it. They thought it was fun. So yeah, it's great. It's easier to bring them like this than to make them. For example, they love augmented reality, but the fact that augmented reality, the best platform right now is Snapchat, is a real barrier for brands, because like most of our community and most of influencers don't want to use Snapchat at all. So finally we are able to involve them, like to engage them more in metaverse with virtual reality and this kind of things, that with augmented reality, but there are like other platform coming without using Snapchat for augmented reality also is going to be good. Because if we want to, we need to attract everyone to come. So we need to make things simple, and Snapchat is not, finally, unfortunately, it's not. They are not make people. I think some people, I was like this. It's like I used Snapchat a long time ago, but. It's like,
and I think you bring up something interesting, because I think that really demonstrates, right, like that bridging of the gap, right? You've got influencers from TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it may be, and pulling them into the metaverse. Who do they bring with them, right? They've got the huge following. If they're the ones interacting with your brands, how does that trickle down to kind of the greater masses of who they are following? And Metaverse also helps to create additional content creation, right? In a completely digital fashion, to where now they're able to produce content on all these different platforms. I just think it's really fascinating and a really interesting experience that you've kind of had here, working together, collaborating, building this out.
Yes, I also dive into that comment there, Aurélia, if we could. You saying that influencers you're talking to aren't necessarily liking using Snapchat. And, you know, they're moving away from it, and they're seeing some things in the metaverse that chat. Is there any examples that you could provide us that we could talk about?
I know, but it's just the fact that I think they would love to do more augmented reality, because I think augmented reality is also a good way to do digital adoption, and they all love it. But the fact that the best, like the body tracking, the most interesting like augmented reality experience around Snapchat is a problem, because they left Snapchat a long time ago. They don't want to go back there. They are on TikTok, on Instagram, and that's it. So it's a real problem. But yeah, virtual reality, it was fun. It has to be simple for them. If like it's like a long process, you know, they are all busy with brands, and so it has to be very simple, and they have to see the value. You know, it's the same to convince them. It's like so most of the ones that we have are like cool influencers we have been working with since like we launched. We have like, they are very loyal, and we have a good relationship with them. They have like we send them like shoes like regularly, like they can wear during fashion week, these kind of things, and yes, they do project, and some are like making more and more like virtual, like Web3 project. I start to see them like doing like different projects. So I was happy that we were the first ones they worked with too.
Yeah, and we were able to make those avatars like custom, you know, because we've got 55 million digital assets, you know, like these creators have really built out every aspect of this platform. You can have any type of custom made avatar. You can have a whole gold skin if you wanted, you know, like the possibilities are insane. So we're able to kind of hone down and help them figure out what they need to do. You can actually do that by yourself nowadays. They have something called producers on our platform. You can actually pay someone in one of our cryptocurrencies we have on platform, Bitcoin, and they can actually like build out the avatar. If you're like sending them a photo, you're like, this is what I want, and then they'll build out what you want for you. So
again, back to that customization. I mean, every time I hear avatars and that level of customization, I can't help but think of the movie Ready Player One, that I'm assuming everybody thinks about all the time. And hopefully we don't
like,
go that far, where we are just diving straight into this world of Web3. And we do really have this bridge, this phygital, kind of solution here that brings the virtual world and the physical world together. And I do want to talk about a first that Aurélia has made for the entire ecosystem. Aurélia was one of the first, or actually was the world's first creator to get a music artist to create an NFT with her around a shoe design. And I'd love to hear about that experience, Aurélia, because we've been talking about influencers. And this is literally the shoe here, everyone. So we've been talking about influencers. We've been talking about individuals that have been leaving some of these Web 2 tools, maybe not leaving, but exploring other options, seeing what else is out there to interact with their audiences, their communities. So Aurélia, can you tell us about kind of this experience creating this first NFT shoe collab with a music artist?
Yeah, it sounds like totally natural to us. In fact, like if like initially, well, the like our works collab with in fashion with artists, and but it's kind of saturated, So many collabs have been done, and it's like if you are not Nike or if you are not Travis Scott, and it's like there are so many brands doing collabs that it's very hard to be seen. And we were already starting to experiment with Web3 and NFT, and finally we were like, we should drop this shoe like as a NFT, like people can buy like the digital but also the physical. And there was also a version that was unique with Rico signatures. There was one she signed herself here, and she even for the winners, because the person that paid for this unique, he got like a video of Rico, like dedicated by Rico, saying like Tyler is for you, and like I'm super happy, and it was super nice. And it was very cool. So yeah, we did it like this. And for Rico, it was she loved the project. But she's a big fan of our shoes. First, it's very important. She liked our aesthetic, and she has done one NFT before. It was for one of her record, and we thought it was nice to start with her. And yeah, it was the first one. And I don't know if you know, like this video games Taken from the 90s, it still exists. And so like you fight, and because the brand is very inspired by the 90s, and also like Rico is very Y2K and like kind of 90s 2000, and her character, even like physical character, IRL is like it's already like amazing. And we said we should do like Tekken, so we did like a kind of avatar, like a Tekken style, and she was fighting like you remember you win and you lose, and she was fighting like doing like some move. So it was amazing. And so we did this. It was an amazing campaign like this, and also posting real shoes of her, and we had influencer wearing the shoes, and Playboy Kerty, like a lot of cool artists wearing the shoes. So we did like kind of like when we launched a mix between like Web3 and Web2 strategy. I think there are amazing things to do in Web3 in terms of marketing and in terms of community building, but there are still a few things like it's still good to have PR. PR are not going to disappear, but the PR are going to evolve probably with Web3. So we have been doing like also to work with creators and to create this campaign was amazing.
I mean, it's so cool. You've worked with Lizzo, Lil Nas X, MIA, Avril Lavigne, to name a few. And hearing kind of what you're talking about in terms of your collaboration with them, I always think of like this Web 2 platform that I'm assuming everybody's seen videos of, called Cameo, where you've got all of these giant celebrities on this platform, and you as an individual can go and get some custom video created for your friend. But what if you're that creator? What if you're that person that people are asking for videos, and instead of having people come to you, you want to go to them? You want to say, I want to give you this opportunity here where 1,000 videos of this type are going to be offered to my followers. See if you can get one. And you can have that custom video created like Aurélia was talking about, where they can say, hey, this is the shoe you just got. Here's something that you're going to hear from me that no one else is going to hear. That's so cool. That's giving a new experience to people who want to collect or connect with their favorite celebrities. And it's giving celebrities and these creators and influencers an opportunity to kind of reach out to their communities themselves without having these individuals go to a third-party provider and try and reach out to them directly. It's really interesting to see.
Yeah,
it's
really more of this like personalized touch too.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like the individual users and consumers, they just are able to interact in a deeper way and actually, you know, again, embody what these brands or what these artists stand for, right? Like they're big followers, they're big supporters, but how could they do more than just buy the shirt that they're trying to sell or buy the shoes that are being created, right? This gives them the opportunity to really stretch those bounds and limits.
Well, and they have the ownership of it too. They have the ownership of it too, where instead of following, I'm sure Cameo's got guidelines, and I'm sure all of these third-party providers maybe have some strict guidelines on how they want to do things. You have a little bit more freedom of how you want to create your kind of connection with your community. And I think that's really cool to see. However, obviously, we haven't seen tons of people jumping to it. Hey, Claudia, you are doing an excellent job kind of bridging this gap. You've got 200,000 creators that have bought in here, and you've got 1 million active users that are engaging with all of the things that you're creating with them. But I'm curious, you know, what are some of the things that you're seeing that people are skeptical about when it comes to exploring the metaverse? You know, what are some of the big hesitations that maybe you can address right now?
Honestly, I think brands they don't understand that it's not one or the other. You know, it's a combination. We're not trying to get rid of social media, you know, or Web 2. Like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, what's going to actually happen is it's just going to be like an added value for your customers, a way to interact with people in a more genuine way, to add more value to your customers, have more of a sense of community, have, you know, like some sort of contract that is aligned with that digital NFT, that digital wearable version. You know, like maybe they get exclusive access to a room, maybe they get first dibs on your next product launch, maybe they get, you know, like there's so many things that they can actually do and participate with, and same with brands like celebrities, etc. And I think that needs to be on everyone's kind of minds. You know, it needs to be top of mind to be thinking about a metaverse product strategy, because it is the future. It is the next step. It's not going to take over anything you're already doing. It's just the next best thing, you know, to really have that true connection with your customers. So
it's another avenue.
Yeah.
I mean, just like TikTok was created in the last few years and everybody goes, that's the place to market now. There's where the audience is. Well, guess what? You just mentioned that basically a baseball stadium of people were interacting with your event not too long ago. 35,000 people is not something to say, yeah, we don't want to connect with those individuals. That was a launch. There is a brand new avenue to go and explore here. And I love what you said. It's not replacing it. It's just an addition.
It's not replacing it. And also it's not like you have to think about, it's almost like, you know, when you think about 1 million companies you want to launch and you're just hesitant to do it because you want to make sure it's the right one. I think people are afraid risky because it's new, therefore it's risky. But it's not. It doesn't have to be. And you don't have to go on just one metaverse. Just pick one to start with. Pick one that will make it easy. And we make it really easy for people to get involved because of our creators. You know, like we make this process really seamless. It was easy for Aurélia, and now she's gone into other metaverses as well. Like it's never just one metaverse, one idea, one project, etc. You just got to start somewhere and kind of take it from there. You know, like it needs to be part of everyone's strategy going forward for sure.
It's really interesting how I want to kind of hone in on one of your statements there of, you know, we all got 1.5 million ideas, right? But we don't know when's the right time to try to build them out. It's almost like the metaverse is that, I'm gonna call it a quote unquote safe space, right? It's a lower risk environment to where you can test out these ideas, and you can almost, I'm curious to see kind of how companies test product market fit, for instance. Are they able to leverage the metaverse, right, to kind of be able to gauge product market fit? And how does that then relate to the physical world, right? It's really getting into that phygital conversation, and I'm curious to kind of see how that evolves. And with that being said, you know, I'm curious to get first, Aurélia, I'm going to direct this to you, then Claudia. I'm curious to get your perspective on, you know, how do you see the metaverse evolving from where we're at? Because we're definitely scratching the surface, right? It's kind of going through the hype cycle, right, of the ebbs and flows. But what's to come? Like, in your mind, what do you see in the next, you know, 5-10 years? And really, I'll let you address that question first.
What I see is going to be like commerce a lot, you know. I think it's a new way to buy and to discover products and to purchase products. And so it's going to be, of course, this, and also like community building, and to meet your community and to make project with them, you know. So I think for me there are the two important points, but it's true that there are like other things that have to be improved. It's like interoperability. Right now, it's a real problem, because especially in fashion with wearable, it's like when you do one wearable, you have to do like one different wearable for each metaverse, what is not convenient. And the reason that companies like Ready Player Me just like raised 56 million recently, and their avatar works in more than 3,000 platform. This kind of thing. So it's like, we need this kind of initiative to be more present, and more digital adoption. It's very important, like, and more digital adoption. I think it's to go to where people are, you know. Right now it was really like a kind of like crypto community plus like gamers, and but it's like if you want to do more digital adoption and teach people, educate people about this, we need to go where they are, you know. So like in different events, to be in NFTLA is NFTLA or NFT New York is nice for professional purpose, but for like digital adoption, it's like to be at SneakerCon or ComplexCon, and to go to Fashion Week, and to to talk about like fashion and digital fashion. Because right now we say digital fashion, but at the end, in a few weeks, we will say just fashion anyway, because it will be.
It's going to be synonymous in the future when you just think of fashion, right? At least that's where we think it's going to evolve. You don't even make the differentiation between physical and digital. You just know that that's fashion nowadays. And you know, Claudia, I'm curious to get your perspective too. How do you see it really evolving? Do you see it evolving really into this commerce type business? And what do you think are the interoperability? What are a couple of those variables that need to be improved for more adoption of the metaverse?
Oh, it's a good one. I like that question. You know, I think the metaverse is inevitable. Obviously, I'm in the industry, but starting from like when it first blew up, right, which was COVID. We were all locked down. We're all trying to find a way to genuinely, authentically connect with one another online, you know, like on our mobile home computer. And brands were still trying to stay relevant. So the metaverse really blew up for Snoop Dogg and Eminem and Paris Hilton and like all of these brands, you know, like Nike, etc., Puma. So it allowed the kind of that avenue, and it kind of blew up. And then if you look at what's going on with the current market conditions anyways, you know, like right now we're in the middle of a possible recession, maybe depression, I don't even know. And there's everything happening with China. There's interest rates crazy in the UK and EU. Like there's just always something going on, apparently, like recently. But if you look at where these investment firms are still putting in their money, it's still in the metaverse. There's millions and billions even during this tough time where people are throwing into these type of companies like our own. So that's something that people need to think about, right? Like that this is not going away. Like it's definitely here to stay. And in order for them to stay relevant, they kind of need to stay in that path as well. And like the future of the metaverse in general really is, really like branded communities, maybe even like loyalty programs. We've seen Starbucks release that loyalty NFT as well. Having exclusively branded items, like a special shoe that you can't get somewhere else unless you own the NFT. Taking those assets, like you said, interoperability from one platform to another, which is super hard right now because not that many platforms actually work together, right? Like we try to, like we have the Blockchain Gaming Alliance, we have the Open Metaverse Summit, we have all these things and we preach it. And I think that's the direction we're all going to go, is like one day you'll be able to take an object from InView and bring it to Sandbox and vice versa. And it'll be in the form of an NFT that you take with your cryptocurrency from one to the other. And it will be kind of like a seamless process, like you can actually take the value that you add on platform and transfer it off platform and convert it to your local currency, like a fiat or cash, or also take those assets to other platforms. Like that's the epic dream, right? And we're trying to get there. I mean, I think that we've got a really good shot because we actually have 2 metaverses, one that we're launching later this year. We actually have a Squid Game in it as well. Yeah, but it's more fun. It's like a game. Whereas InView is more like social, genuine connection, massive metaverse, And so we have like a real kind of way of bringing like assets from one metaverse to another because we own 2. We also have that platform aspect, so you'll be able to take it from your wallet into InView as well, and we have that in the pipeline for what we're building with our InView NFT marketplace, which is a whole marketplace that's integrated into the platform. Like you have an in-game experience when you're wearing your NFT. It's going to light up. It's going to do all these cool effects. You'll have it directly in your wallet. You can transfer it off the platform to your other. So we're already kind of thinking about this. Like this is the goal going forward, and that's kind of also why we built vCore currency. I'm launching or I'm working on right now. It's a huge part of all of that. It allows people to actually do that with all the assets they have. And we call it the true metaverse token. So interoperability on the highlight,
I love it. The true metaverse token. And we'll definitely dive a little bit more into that here in a second. But I love what you were saying. It's inevitable. It's something that you should encourage people to explore. I saw something recently that Steve Jobs was talking about in the early days of the internet, where he was just talking about, again, these companies that were embracing the internet, were embracing computers, were embracing the power to be digital, were able to compete with the changes, to keep up with them. Like you're saying, there is so much that's happened in just the last 2 years. We're basically in world 2.0. It is a completely different environment. And if you look 20 years ago, you can't even recognize what's the next 20 years going to look like? How are you going to be agile and keep up with that? A company that is a storefront, it's a lot harder to be agile and move that store if you don't have some kind of digital presence to kind of complement it. And I think that's where the metaverse, the world of Web3, is that new bridge to allow you to connect with individuals that you wouldn't normally be able to, and to stay agile. And so looking back on today's conversation, we went through a lot. And Claudia, I'd love to start with you because, I think we were building on something there with the vCore. What are some things that you want individuals to take away from today's episode? And also, what are some things that you're currently working on that you encourage people to come explore and chat with you about?
Yeah. I think, like a key takeaway from this whole conversation is that the metaverse is a way for brands and customers and players to kind of truly participate, not only in the brand, but also like in the whole process, right, of the brand, like for the first time. So it is something that people should really be thinking about. And if they want to do it in a simplified way, InView is a really good avenue to execute that, as we've seen with the Shoes 53045 brand. we are launching a new Metaverse token and an in-view NFT marketplace soon, actually in the upcoming week and a half. It's wild. We're doing like a phase 1 launch, and then we have phase 2, phase 3. It's going to be like one of thousands of NFTs, and it's going to be like a whole creator studio like integration. So people will actually be able to just click mint in the creator studio, which is wild. They've been building it only for a few months. So our in-view engineer team has been just doing a really awesome job building this out, and our MetaJuice team. And, you know, I'm really excited to see like the final end product of this and see everyone actually be able to experience it or see it in the room. And, you know, vCore is a huge part of that. It allows people to actually, for the first time, participate in the success of the metaverse, you know, like the in-view metaverse, any other metaverses that we work with as MetaJuice team, and everything that we're a part of and we're doing. We haven't even launched the official public listing date. And it's only available initially, unfortunately, not for US and Canadian residents, but we haven't even launched our public listing date, and we've just reached 10,000 members. So it's pretty cool that we've been able to, you know, get such a large community so fast. And we've had a really successful pre-sale. I can't wait to announce the remaining partners that are on our pre-sale. But yeah, I would love to, you know, get to know everyone who's interested in vCore and check out our Discord. And we'll be posting a lot of new updates in the upcoming weeks.
Well, if you're live here or you're listening back to this recording, MetaJuice is working with a lot of creators. They're working with a lot of brands, and they're here to help bridge that gap. I encourage you all to connect with Claudia or the members of the Bridging the Gap to Web3 team here to see if it makes sense to get you both connected. We're all on the same team here, trying to help everybody learn more about what the future is going to look like. And Aurélia, you know, I'll hand it off to you. Do you have anything to take away from the episode for our listeners, and anything that you're currently working on that you want to share?
But yeah, I think it can be interesting to see like what is our vision, you know, in all of this, because when you are a brand, it's like you can be like a brand that exists since like a long time, and right now what we start to see is like most of big brands that is like doing a project in the metaverse is more kind of brand awareness only, you know. It's just like kind for them, kind of like additional channel. And there is the pure players that are more digital fashion, that are the most innovative, but they are digital only. Most of them don't do physical shoes, just a few we start to see. And for us, it's like we are kind of hybrid, because we have created the brand like 3 years ago, and like digital brand, but selling physical shoes. And now for us, we want the Web3 to be like our main playground, and Metaverse our main playground. So for us, our objective is to be like a multiverse, like iconic next-gen sneaker brand, and bridging like physical and digital for the product, but also for the experience. So it's really this, like it's clear for us. We don't want to be a hybrid too long. If we are hybrid, once again, it's because we have still stock inventory, and we need to sell these shoes. So, and it's very important. And we can use even the metaverse to sell like physical shoes. In fact, it's also a good way to do. So this point is very important. And for us, there are like two big pillars. There is a pillar that is more about product, like what kind of iconic product we can do, and there is a collectible, what we call the collectible. But what we did, for example, we did Freakonasty, this kind of collabs, but it can be also like a co-creation with smaller creators, and this one, it will be like a limited edition, you know, and you buy the shoes, you have, like, as I said, the NFT chips inside, and you can unlock, and it's authentic. There is like, you have the authenticity certificate, and you can unlock a lot of experience and gift and everything. So there is a collectibles with like a limited edition, and there is also like what we call like permanent collection, because we still have shoes. It's like, if you check here, there are some that are like totally white, and the white and black are like the shoes that people buy like all the time. Like, I've been wearing like when I was for a long time, like Converse, the white, the black, they still sell, you know, and we want people to be able to still do that. So they won't be collectibles, but each time you will buy a classic one, you will also have like the chips, and you will have also like, you can have the wearable, you know. available for your virtual life. So this thing is very important. There is also, because it's less Web3, but it's still Metaverse, is more skin, in-game skin, and like in Zepeto, and like to be more active and to do more brand awareness, even if it's not always like NFT. But on this platform, IMBU, and like a perfect platform to do brand awareness as well. So this part is more about like iconic product, and there is on the other side what we call like immersive experience, and related to utility most of the time. So, and but first is like to we are going to become v-commerce. The interface are going to be virtual. It will be so much more like fun than to have like we all have almost the same kind of Shopify like interface, even if they are like nice templates, but as it will be more like a discovery. So for us, it's very important also to have like stores in the metaverse itself. Like you have a cool concept store, and as we are very connected to the music ecosystem with artists, we can even do like if we do a collab with an artist to have a live show with the artist and create like a lot of fun like this. So it's very cool. With this immersive experience, there is also the biggest project we have is what we call the Store 3.0. You know that in Web 2, the store of the future was Bonobo, and is still and Warby Parker, where it's like you see, you can try on the outfit and you will receive it as e-commerce. But for the Web3, for us, we want to create like a space that is kind of like a space where you are going to experience mixed reality, like to discover our shoes with augmented reality. If you saw like some exhibition recently at the Broad, where like it's like you can like activate through a QR code, like an avatar wearing your outfit, these kind of things, and also to have headset. And when you come to our store and with your friend, you can like wear the headset, and we are going for 10 minutes to make you travel like
That's
your
awesome.
world. And you choose the shoes you want to experience, and after we can be like a few minutes in a rave party dancing with your friend and the other people. After you can run in the nature with animals, and you can imagine like a lot of like different room and experience. And at the end, like after 10 minutes, is like you can buy the shoes or like as a skin or as any like collectibles or permanent, and as you want. And we are going also to record a little mix that you can post on TikTok and on your social media.
So cool.
So this kind of thing, and we can even go further when we were talking about like co-creation, is like you can even customize like for the permanent collection, you can choose like to have like your own colors, and we can make it. These kind of things like we can pre-order it on demand. This kind of thing we can go very far. So it's more it's more our vision. It's like we want to be like it's for us is like we are still a brand selling like physical and digital shoes. It's like what we call like phygital, but using the metaverse as a like a playground. And
I love it.
With avatars and with artists, and also artists, most of them start to have their own avatar, So it's going to be very fun to work with everyone in this world.
Aurélia, you are working on some incredible things there. And I'm sure our audience, if anybody is looking to experience a unique shopping experience, please go head over to Shoes 53045. They're doing some incredible things. Claudia, Aurélia, thank you so much for your time today. However, we do have one final comment. You answered a couple questions in the chat here, but it looks like we have one more. And I'd say if you were going to summarize this into one point, what would it be? The question was, what are a few things that we can do at the grassroots level to prepare today's children to be successful in the phygital world? Is there one recommendation that you can think of? And it doesn't have to be your number one. I know there's probably a couple that stands out to you that you'd like to share. Claudia, we'll start with you.
Well, I'm going to give the same advice that my colleagues gave me, because we've got 40,000 rooms. The first thing that I did when I came in the company was like, how do I learn everything about the metaverse and MBU? And it's just impossible. The first thing they tell me is to just go in and explore. Like you will find an experience that you like. And as a brand or as like someone who's going to go into the space, you learn firsthand from experience. So just go in and explore. You want to try NFTs, go buy that first NFT. It doesn't have to be super expensive. We're actually doing more of an NFTs for everybody, so they're affordable NFTs. Part of the NFT marketplace launch. But yeah, it's just go explore.
Go explore. Aurélia, anything that you have to add there?
Yeah, it's true that exploration is the best thing to do, and I think when you have like, if when you are, yeah, we will be still fan of music, still of fashion, and you have like your favorite designers and your favorite like singers and bands. So yeah, you can discover, like explore like Web3 through things you like, you know. It can be this. If you like arts, you can, there are like so many like artists now showing like in the metaverse, and they sell also like physical arts and or digital. And like, yeah, follow like your passion and what you like, and you will be like naturally like in the metaverse, I would say.
Explore and follow your passion. I think those are some great takeaways, especially for our new individuals that are trying to check out this new wave of innovation that is sweeping the world. Everyone, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. It was a great time. A huge thank you again to Claudia and Aurélia for joining us here today on episode 4 of Bridging the Gap to Web3.